What is up? Awesome people. What is up? What is up? What is up? Happy Friday, right? Happy Friday, everybody. And welcome to another edition of Awesome People of the Internet Friday Hangout. This is a time where we can all just hang out, have some fun, talk about the game that we love, which is women's basketball. And for this show, we got a really, really awesome show planned for y'all because for the first time ever on this channel, I actually have a guest that is not my mom. y'all remember like me and my mom have done like some videos together before, but there hasn't been another person who's been on a stream with me. And for the first time, we are unveiling a new thing. It is going to be called Hot Take of the Week. So I hope y'all are going to get excited about that because it's going to be really fun. It's going to be very, 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 very fun because yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to engage more with women's basketball. Nolan says, "Let's go." I mean, yeah, let's go, Nolan. It's about to be a good time. And guys, I hope y'all had a great week this week. This week went by really fast. This week went by really, really fast. And I'm happy that it's basically over and we can wind down and talk about the game that we love. What is up, JB? Hope you are doing well. JB says, "What's up, awesome people of the internet? Hit that like button on the way in. Y'all know the drill. Y'all do know the drill, guys. Come on, hit that like button. That would be really, really awesome." What's up, Rena? What's up, Rena? I hope you are having a fabulous day. Happy, happy, happy Friday, everybody. It's always great to be able to get another Friday where we can not have to go to work tomorrow and hang out. All right. JB says, "I see you, Quita, with the AirPods in." Hashtag AirPods debut. It is the AirPods debut. It is the AirPods debut in this stream. Nancy says, "Nothing wrong with having your mom." Absolutely nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with mama joining a video or a stream. But this is just the first time we're gonna have another face on the screen, and this is a Patreon exclusive, guys. So if y'all do want to end up participating in this, join Patreon and be able to participate in this. Okay, so here's the structure. Here's the structure of how this is going to go. All right, so we are going to kick off the show with the hot take of the week. And after that is over, we are going to get into some WNBA talk. I know there was a lot of people who were saying that they don't understand the WNBA. Like they're new to the WNBA. They're college basketball fans. They don't know much about the WNBA. So we're gonna have a 101 basically for the WNBA. All right. So first, hot take of the week, which I hope y'all like this section. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about it as it's happening, and then also we will have WNBA 101 right after that. All right. Caro says, "Hey, I missed basketball this week." I know, right? I know. But there's always YouTube. You can always watch rewinds of of games and whatnot on YouTube. So there's always that. Um, all right. Okay, guys, let's get ready, guys. Let's get ready to introduce Michael to the stage. What's up, Michael?
Hey, what up, Quita? Awesome people of the internet. It's nice to finally meet some of you, even though you can see me and I can't see you yet. But I'm excited to be here. Talk basketball, talk things I'm passionate about. So thanks for having me, Quita.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Michael. And guys, this segment is called Hot Take of the Week. And this was actually Michael's idea. So, this was his idea. He put it in the chat. What was that? Wednesday or something like that. He put it in the chat and we are like, "Hey, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen." And you're gonna be the first one. Since it was your idea, you're gonna be the
Yeah.
first one with the hot takes. So Michael, let the people know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I first let me apologize. My voice is still really hoarse. A lot of you know I was in Cleveland for the Final Four all weekend, and I don't think I was in my seat but more than 5 minutes during both of our games, and my voice is really raspy, so apologies. But I grew up mostly in South Carolina. If you can't tell, my hot take may have to do with South Carolina, as the video alludes. But I'm a 2008 graduate of the University of South Carolina, but have been a women's basketball fan for a very long time. I actually grew up a Lady Vols fan. So shout out to our Tennessee folks out there. Great Pat Summit. Growing up in the South, if you like girls basketball, it was Pat. That's who you rode with, right? Or at least the Southeast. That was kind of my introduction to the sport. When I went to South Carolina, we were on the tail end of not being very good. So my senior season was actually Dawn's. Dawn got hired, excuse me, in my senior season. So we never overlapped. We
Wow.
just missed. But I have been keyed into that program from day one. And, you know, getting to see the growth of the game in the way that it has just in these 16 to 20 years that I've really been involved, at least in the college game, has been fun. I'm excited what all the stars have brought this past year and what the future ones will continue to do. It's only onwards and upwards from here. So yeah.
Wow. Michael, I had no idea that you were on the front end of the Don Staley
Yeah.
era for South Carolina. Wow.
I know. I missed her by that much, right? I was actually my senior year when she got announced. There was, they did a welcome ceremony in Colonial Life Arena, which seats 19,000, had only been open for I think a season and a half at that point. It was new too, and as a student, we got free tickets. Go listen to Don, talk to the fans, and Don will talk about it. I think we had about 1,000 people show up that day. And the stadium or the arena had never looked as empty as it did then. I'm getting chills thinking about it because uh, I hope it'll never be that empty ever again. Seeing Colonial Life today and what she built in that span has been great. So yeah.
Oh, all right. That's awesome. Okay, guys, we got Michael, we got some people saying hi to you in the chat.
Hey
Kentucky
y'all.
Lucky saying hey. And
Okay, I see.
Journey letting everybody know you are repeat tour, aka Michael.
I don't see Nancy says I'm a baby. Nancy, don't let it fool you. I am genetically not a baby, so I promise.
All right, all right, all right. Oh, Journey got a hot take. Okay, today is Michael's hot take, and if you want to do a hot take, you can join the Patreon and say yes, you want to do it, and we're gonna get you set up for next week. All right, but Michael, you came on here for a reason, right? You
Oof.
have
Yeah.
a hot take, so lay it out, Michael. What is your hot take?
So the hot take basically is Don Staley is the standard, and good luck trying. Right. Right now in the scene and landscape of women's college basketball, she's the standard. Like Gino said years ago, we're UConn. We're not going to go down. Everybody else got to catch up. Dawn would never say that, but she could if she wanted to, right? She's the standard, so good luck trying. I got some thoughts to go along with that. I'm gonna start sharing some things. Quita's gonna shut me up if some cool comments come in to respond to, so bear with me. But first thing I want to highlight to prove that point is just the results, right? Dawn just completed her 16th season at South Carolina. And in that time, she's got an 81% win percentage, right? She's 440 wins, 106 losses. What's more impressive about that, though, of the 106 losses, 68 of them came in her first 5 seasons. She's only lost 38 games in the last 11 years. Do the math. That's the standard. 3 national championships, 6 Final Fours, 4 of them in a row, 8 regular season SEC championships, 8 SEC tournament championships. She has set the bar, right? Um, Second point I want to make with that is how do you get the results, right? Um, Everybody, I read a lot of comments. We're all keyboard warriors, right? We're playing that game here and there. Um, Everybody's like, well, she gets the best players. That's obviously not happenstance, right? She works hard to get the best players, but how does she do it? I really want to talk about her recruiting for a second. If you're new to the game, or even if you're a lifer like some of us, uh, Dawn doesn't just recruit everyone. ESPN actually put a really interesting video out today that I want to. I'll link to Quita. Maybe we can share it. It's actually Dan Hurley, who's the head coach of UConn men's basketball team, who just won their second straight national championship, and Don Staley. And honestly, if you overlay the videos, Dan Hurley and Don Staley sound almost identical in the type of player they like to recruit, and it really starts with the family. Um, Dawn says she can look at a stat sheet all day and tell, or go see a game, but she wants to know that somebody's disciplined enough that they know how to not be a star, that they're going to have to sit sometimes, that winning is about team. Prime example of this, which for me as a fan, it was hard to see. Malaysia Fulwiley is probably the most electrifying freshman. Not saying she's the best, but in terms
She
of
is the most
electrifying,
electrifying. Yeah, I agree.
when she comes in a game, it's a different level, right, Quita?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're on the road at UNC in December. Tough game. Malaysia comes in. Three defensive possessions. She gets scored on twice. And in three offensive possessions, she has a turnover and rushes an awful shot that leads to a fast break transition the other way. Dawn yanks her. She played 3 minutes, doesn't play the rest of the game. And after, understandably, Malaysia's kind of peeved, right? Um, but this is where that recruiting comes in. Dawn can lean on family and the mom and say,
Mm-hmm.
I told you this moment would come. Believe me. And that frustrated Malaysia in December as a freshman to what we saw in the end, right? So you see the journey. She made it, right? Trust the process, believe the flowers, the accolades, the everything, it will come to the point that in today's world with the portal, it's so easy to transfer. Malaysia could go anywhere and start any program, any
And play
program.
all 40 minutes too.
Right. And next year, we got the same five guards coming back. Malaysia knows her role, probably a little elevated, but largely similarly the same. Until Bree Hall is gone and some things can shift around, it's going to be the same. And she's ready to run it back. In the transfer era, right now, this year, this class, we have no people in the portal. That's nuts. So it speaks to the recruiting. And then the last thing that I want to say that really warms my heart and get chills talking about it, it's an honor to be a fan of her program. Dawn builds a big tent. It's not just about her or just the results. She's got the players out in the community, working in schools, at local nonprofits. She invests in Columbia and the region and the game and young girls and boys there in her camps. Um, and her love for the fams, as she calls us, the loyal fan base is real. We show up. South Carolina has led the NCAA women's game in attendance for the 10th year in a row. We averaged over 16,000 fans this past year, right? To put that in perspective, this is not a dig at our Iowa fans, but Carver Hawkeye only holds about 15,500. We average, and they sold out every game, so they averaged 15,500. Again, no dig, but that's to put it in perspective. We average a little over 16K a year, and in the last 5 years, that investment in us has. We all know home court advantage helps in games. We're 77-1 at home in the last 5 years,
Dang.
and interestingly enough, the two teams that we played in the Final Four have some bragging rights over us. One, Iowa can claim we're the only one to beat them in the last two, right? Um, do you know who our only home losses to over the last 5 years came in December of 2020 to Westmore and NC State?
Wow.
Just,
Huh.
I mean, full circle moment, right?
Huh.
So, um, but that's my argument. I mean, I got a lot more I can say, trust me. But Dawn has built something that will be extremely hard to replicate. I think there are. I'm not saying Dawn's the goat. I'm not. Well, that could be a hot take, maybe in a year. Um, Dawn is building something that coaches are going to try and emulate. I think there are a million great coaches out there right now. I look at Carol Lawson. I think she's going to be a Dawn in time, right? Like the Coach Yo and what she's doing and the fire and passion she brings. It's great. But right now, it's Dawn and everybody else.
I mean, Michael, you just gave
I
us
mean,
a whole book with several chapters. All right,
I'm
so
sure,
let's kind of break that down. And guys, in the
right? Okay.
chat, if y'all have rebuttals, or if y'all are actually like, actually no, Don Staley's not the standard, let us know. Put it in the chat, and we gonna have some back and forth where Michael can respond. But Michael, very nice job breaking down your thoughts. High
No, thank you.
Vibration says dude needs to have his own channel.
No, 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 no.
I
No.
mean
Actually, I'll
the
say
people
this.
asking, Michael.
Do you know what I'd love to see all the folks what your thoughts are on this. I don't know that I need to be the voice or face of it, but um, as the women's college game grows, one thing that for me as a diehard fan, I wish there were more of, and it's just really hard to get good info, is on high school recruiting for the girls' game,
Mm,
right? We know for football, boys basketball. Honestly, again, I went to South Carolina. We've been pretty good at baseball over the years. You can go online and find anything out about any prospect ever. I would love a channel about high school girls recruiting. So, um, who knows? High vibrations. Maybe that's my extra time niche.
that would be a fabulous channel because, man, like, yeah, if you do that, that would be like, I would be the number one subscriber for sure. Because that's like the one thing I lack on is like real focus on the high school game. Other than,
Hey,
you know,
yeah.
the games that end up on ESPN and whatnot.
Hey, Quita, I see one comment I want to respond to. It looks like CAC 6565 just said, what about Pat Summit and Gino? Let me just clarify. We were talking about Don being the standard right now going forward, right? One thing I always say, and there were a lot of other great coaches, right, in the 80s and 90s. But I personally always say Pat Summit and Gino, honestly, they helped build this game, right? Their rivalry fueled it. You know, before there were the Caitlin Clarks and Angel Reeses, or even back then the Maya Moores and the Candace Parkers, it was the Pat and Gino rivalry that fueled the game. I mean, that's what
It
you tuned in
was.
for. They are legends. Okay, do not mishear me on that. We're just talking about right now. They're the current. Dawn's the current standard, right? But those two specifically are legends. I see another comment real quick that somebody said they're not a fan of her, but give her flowers. Kim Mulkey is also the other active coach right now. Dawn's got 3 championships. Kim's got 4, for sure. I would say the trajectory, though, right? Um, the last couple of years at Baylor weren't as great when Kim was winning
Yeah.
championships because of Brittany Griner. And then the first couple of years at LSU, um, total respect on the national championship. But I'm going to say Dawn's still the standard because of how she connects with players. And uh, until Kim beats Dawn in the SEC, it's I'm going to stand on Dawn.
All right. So between Kim Mulkey and Don, Michael is saying Don all the way. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I think the big difference between Dawn and Kim is it's a mentality factor in my opinion. So like Kim Mulkey is a very old school coach. She is.
Yeah.
Like she is her she learned a lot from her college coach, and it feels like she sort of emulated a lot of that in terms of like you don't make yourself the story, that type of thing, and like the stuff that happened at Baylor, like that was kind of a result of that. Like, hey, let's keep everything just about basketball, and that kind of rubbed people the wrong way and all that stuff. But Dawn Staley is a more about no, express yourself, be you, do
Yep.
your thing, and I think Kim Mulkey is getting more to that and sort of letting Flau'jae sort of do whatever she wants to do, and Angel and whatnot. But I feel like with Dawn Staley, it's more I don't know. She's more like a player's coach, I would say.
Yeah. That's actually what I
Whereas,
was.
yeah,
Yeah. Kim is a coach's coach. She's in that very much that she played at Louisiana Tech, which again for those of you who don't know, Louisiana Tech in the '80s was amazing. And
they
Kim
were
Mulkey
fantastic.
played. She was a starting point guard. She
Yeah,
was on, I think I'm going to get it wrong, '84 Olympic team that Pat Summitt actually coached. Um, but back to giving Kim her flowers, 'cause I know I gave her, I read her a little bit there. You're right, Quita. She is a coach's coach. I think we're seeing the evolution of Kim Mulkey, to your point, realizing that today's player is a little different, and she's riding with that better than I think she might have in the past. And a prime
hmm
example is Flau'jae. Like, how can you not watch Flau'jae Johnson and love her? And so like Kim sees that and says, "Let her go." And like Angel Reese, who's like fiery and says what she thinks, and 98% of the time, except against us, backs it up on the court. Um, Kim lets those players ride with that. So you're right. Kim is growing too.
Next to Air says Dawn Staley seems like she's not as strict as Moki. Um, in a different way, I would say. I, I so watching Dawn Staley over the last lots and lots of years as a coach, she is a coach that to me is strict on her players, but she undergirds everything in love, and that's a thing that is just it's so. Why is my dog barking? It is so like family. Like you kind of said it, Michael, earlier, where she undergirds everything with like family and love, and she will get on her players. The standard is the standard, but it's not. It's not as it's not harsh because they know at the end of the day that she loves them and she cares about them, and ultimately, regardless of what happens to them, Don will be in their corner.
Yep.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
We Michael, we don't have
We,
really anybody really saying they disagree with you because your take was a
I
good. And
mean,
also, can you just kind of give us that stat again that you gave earlier? They
what?
were well, you said they were 77-1 at home in the last 5 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. In the last 5 years, 5 seasons, yep, 77-1 at home, with the solo loss being to NC State. I believe. I was Wikipedia warrior earlier, but um, to NC State in December of 2020.
That's a long time, man. That is a long, long
Yeah, we've
time.
won since then. We've won 60 straight home games.
And yeah, that's crazy. Also, it is kind of crazy to think that Tessa Johnson and Mylasia Fulwiley are the only two freshmen in the country that can say that they are undefeated in their entire college career so far.
They might also be the only two freshmen in the history of the women's college game. Here's hot take number two. to say one of them, Malaysia, I was SEC tournament most outstanding player, correct? I do believe.
Yeah, she
And
was.
Tessa to make the NCAA tournament most or all tournament team. And at least right now, unless Dawn gets crazy and doesn't follow her normal, like I go with my leaders, they're both going to come off the bench next year. You're going to have an
Mm-hmm.
SEC tournament most outstanding player and an NCAA all tournament player, both freshmen who won't even start next year. Now they will both get way more playing time. Let's not get it twisted. But I think Raven and Pow Pow are still going to start
Oh yeah.
at guard, and Bree's going to be right there at the three. So, um, but they know their roles and they are ready to come back and run it back.
And if y'all thought they were really good this year, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be even better next year. Christopher said he's speaking facts. No, not one lie told. I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue with the fact that Donna Staley's the standard because it kind of feels like she is. Jasmine says, "Great take, Michael. Not one lie told." Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see. Uh, CAC says, "Is undefeated a good thing, though?"
I
Um,
mean,
if
I'll
you
say what
ultimately,
I mean. I'll
yeah,
echo
go
what,
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, Michael.
I'll echo what Don says. Is that that's never the goal, right? You set your goals as a team. It's kind of like it's great if it happens, but there are larger goals of accomplishing trophies or other things. For me as a fan, I'll say this. Quita knows because I told her this at the meetup in Cleveland. Uh, like that Tennessee game in the SEC tournament, they had us right. I know that's why we played as zeros, but that game is what cost Kelly Harper her job. Hot take number 3 of the day. Um, uh, I would have loved as a fan to have lost that game so that they could taste it, so that they could see it. But Don just keeps saying, you know, we're finding a way to learn and grow and develop through wins. And I feel like it's a trickle down effect. The players say, if Don's not sweating, we're not sweating. And so when the players say that, I say, well, if the players aren't sweating, that means Don's not sweating. So, Michael, you can't sweat either. So I don't know that it's necessarily a good or bad thing. As a fan, sometimes I'm like, get that loss out now so we can make it through the tournament. But it just happens, right? What about you, Quita? What do you think?
I think undefeated doesn't matter. I think the only thing that actually matters every season is you holding up the NCAA tournament trophy. Like that's the only thing that matters. So it doesn't matter if you lose 5 games in the regular season. If at the end of the day you're in that championship game, the buzzer sounds, your team is in the lead, you win. That's to me that's all that matters. That's the whole point when it comes to like when it comes to basketball in general. For the WNBA, it doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter if the Aces win every single game in the regular season. If they lose in the playoffs, they're in the finals. They lose 3 games, they're out. Did any of that undefeatedness matter? No, it didn't. So to me, the only thing that actually matters is winning at the end of the day. That means holding up the trophy at the end of the day. So if you stay undefeated the whole time, great. But I do think that there is something to what Michael said about having the taste of defeat and having that taste and being like, ugh, that tastes bad. I don't want to taste that again. I don't want to taste that again. I want to win at all costs. And sometimes the best way to win is to lose. Get that feeling, understand what you need to fix, understand what you need to do better, and make it happen. This year, South Carolina didn't need that. They were still able to get it done. Last year, remember, they were undefeated the entire season. They lost in the Final Four. Again, it doesn't matter how undefeated you are in the regular season, but can you get the job done when it actually matters, which is trying to win a championship. And for Don Staley and South Carolina, they did it this year. And yeah, that's my thoughts. Like, I don't think it matters if you're undefeated as long as you win the championship in the end.
I think the other thing about going undefeated specifically this year that worries me about, I think someone commented somewhere about, you know, the girls faced that pressure all year and they delivered. Um, this team, Don talks about Don's daycare. Okay, I've lovingly called them their graduating. So next year will be Don's like pre-K or Don's kindergarten. Um, they play so loose. Even she, who's been a disciple of the game her entire life, she's like, this is new territory for me. I'm really worried, especially with Caitlin, at least out of the college game. There is going to be more space, right? Just to talk about other stuff. As a fan, I'm very worried the narrative will be you returned everybody. You went undefeated last year, you better go undefeated and beat everybody by 30, right? I feel like that pressure, that's going to be the narrative from 4 weeks out from the regular season. And when we do have those close games, it's really going to be an examination. We did not get as much media scrutiny as maybe an undefeated or top team would because of the stars of the game this year, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
next year there might be a little bit more of a spotlight on that for us.
I mean, a little bit more pressure, but y'all could probably take it. Y'all could probably take it. Didi in
We're
Tennessee
going
says no, no, he didn't put a flame under Kelly. I mean, that was a big hot take because to me that Tennessee South Carolina game, to me, that showed what Kelly could possibly do, and it also exposed a weakness in her coaching. To me, I thought that the X's and O's, the way that they played that game, Tennessee, for every second minus the last, I don't know, what was that, 4 seconds
minute
of the
minute
game.
like
Um,
minute 11. Yeah.
it was masterful, but then ultimately Tennessee choked, and this is they've choked a couple times. There were a couple of games where they were basically in it the whole time. It looked like they were going to win, and then they choked at the end. But to me, that Tennessee South Carolina game, to me, Kelly Harper should have kept her job, um, in my opinion, based off of that game. Yes, horrible misstep, allowing no defender. No defender was on the inbounder, and no defender was on Camila Cardoso. So that was a huge, huge, huge mistake. Like dumb, dumb, dumb mistake. But beyond that, I'm like, man, but she played so well overall. And to me, I think she shouldn't have lost her job. Like that's my thoughts about that.
Yeah, that's tough. The other thing I'll say too, nobody said it, but just so you all don't think, because I'm an alum and obviously we're winning, it's easy to be a South Carolina fan right now. Let me tell you, I'll give you one piece of critique that I would really love to see for our team going forward is when you get that lead, step
Keep it.
on their throat. We Don's daycare shows up when we get a 20-point lead. I mean, it is like watching we go from like the all-star amazing team to like the bad news bears. And it's not that we're so bad. It's like a little lazy, we get a little comfortable. I think it's because these girls know they could make up 15 real quick. But
Mm-hmm.
again, that Tennessee game is a prime example of like where you can't always be that confident, right? But I would love to see us get better at holding a lead. And Quita, can I one last thing since you on the Tennessee comment? I just want to say a shout out. I've got three really really good friends that play in a softball league with me, who are diehard Tennessee Lady Vols fans. And since I brought up put a little disrespect on Kelly Harper's name, I just want to tell Will, Joey, and Jeff that I'm with you. I'm thinking about you. I hope Kim Caldwell does some good stuff next year. She better get some bigs to add to that 3-point shooting in the
Mm-hmm.
SEC. But I think Tennessee. I think that's an interesting hire. So anyway,
Michael. I love it. I love it. And the chat, man, the chat is loving you, Michael. The chat is
Are
loving you,
they?
Michael.
Are they not?
Didi says, Michael, I like you, a jugular man. Like you go straight for it.
Listen,
Oh
like,
man,
you know, as a
but
fan,
you
it has been nerve wracking to watch these games, right? Like, I'm fortunate enough. I was actually at the Notre Dame game in Paris to start the season. Um, and
really?
that one, yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm not made of money. What I save goes into like women's basketball travel and these kind of tickets because I love it. But honestly, Don's built that. Don has me. There's an economic impact to it, right? Like I'm spending money that even if we were like mediocre, I probably don't go to the Final Four in Cleveland. I'm certainly not getting on a plane to go to Paris, and we're also probably not even playing in that game. But as a fan, it's hard with watching sometimes how nerve wracking it gets. Like, Notre Dame started up huge on us in that first quarter. I mean, it was almost
Yeah.
Iowa esque national championship.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh my Lord, I've flown across this ocean to see us get our butts kicked, right? But yeah, so, okay, Carter, who's it?
That's crazy. Yeah, Carter's asking, were you nervous against Iowa?
Uh, all right, Carter, if I could show you my text history from Sunday, I swear to you, I sent no less than 20 either group text chats or Facebook messages or whatever to close friends that at the 3 minute mark of the game, I said, I will love this team until I die, but it's over. It just like, even Don says, Caitlin's going to get her 30. It's can you contain the other people? The way Iowa played in those first 3 minutes was a recipe for any team in this country losing. Iowa was unstoppable. So was I nervous? I think nervous is an understatement. I was worried that someone was going to have to like cart me out of the stadium in a stretcher. Um, but again, settled in. I think that also speaks to Dawn. Guess what she didn't do? She didn't call a timeout. I
Nope.
have never seen a coach so confident in what they build and the product they put on the floor. Excuse me. We all know coaches, you take that time out, stop a run, stop momentum, get your players back in the game. Nope. Dawn doesn't take timeouts. She gives a look, she trusts the process, and get back at it. So that's one time though when you say Dawn might not have been sweating. I was, Carter. I was drenched actually in my seat. Yeah.
It's some
Carmelo.
Carmela. What up, Carmela? Carmela was at the meetup
Hey
in
girl.
Cleveland also.
Hey.
You mentioned that look, Michael, that Don Staley gives. It is like I I tell you, Don Staley gives like the black mama look. Like you know what you're doing. You know you need to pick it up, and I'm gonna let you sit in it and figure it out because I know I taught you well. So you better get it together. And she don't call a timeout. She give them a look, and they know what to do. And I'm just like, man, like I can't I can't think of another coach that does that in that
Honestly,
and actually has success. I know of some coaches who don't call timeouts and then leave their team floundering until
yeah, yeah,
until basically they're on life support. Then you call a timeout. It's too late because your team couldn't withstand that. It's like Don's team. They know the look and they're like, okay, I got to step it up, and they actually do it. And that's not something I see with a lot of other coaches. And so that's something to note for sure about Don Staley.
yeah, yeah,
Let's see let's see what
yeah.
y'all got to say. Erla says maybe I need to shave my head.
Uh,
Let's see. Nancy, yes. Pat Summitt did have a stare too.
Pat,
Oh, and it was
Pat,
some nasty too. It was some nasty too.
actually, there. I'll have to dig. Now Nancy's gonna
Man.
make me go through some YouTube archives later. Candace Parker, there's a clip of her talking about the Pat stare, and the fear that strikes in her
Hmm.
still to this day, thinking about the Pat stare. Um, yeah, for sure.
Pat Summitt, she would fold her arms and then stare at the
Uh-huh.
players. And
Yeah.
it was,
Uh-huh.
man, yes, Nancy, I am so happy you mentioned that because I kind of forgot about that. But yes, Pat Summitt had a very legend, and maybe that's where Don Staley got it from. Maybe she learned from the best because yeah, Pat Summitt, in my opinion, is the best. Was the best. Carmela says yes, that black mama look. Yeah. Yeah. Kentucky Lucky says a coach instills confidence when no time. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it could instill confidence or it could do the complete opposite. For South Carolina, confidence. Because like that's how these players are. Like they've been trained in the summer workouts and practices and whatnot to not sweat. Other programs, when no timeout is called, I don't think it instills confidence. I think it instills fear and panic. And that's when the team gets even worse. And then they're on life support. Then you want to call a timeout. Now it's too late. Now you're all screwed and you lost the game. But yeah, that's the difference in my opinion, Don versus everybody else. But Michael, I kind of feel like we called this hot take of the week, but I don't know if anybody actually disagrees with you. So
Oh,
I'm like,
it,
man,
it was
it's,
okay. So what, Frida, when I put that in the chat on Wednesday, right? And then Quita's like, all right, let's do this. But you gotta go because you put it into the atmosphere, right? Into the universe. You gotta be the first one. And I think John Michael said it earlier somewhere. Like everything you said is right, but not that hot of a take. You're right. It's probably not that hot of a take. Um, but it's one I'm happy to make. I'll tell you that.
all right. We gonna put it in the we gonna put even though I we gonna see how people actually feel because we about to start a poll. We're gonna say is Don the standard? Um, and I need y'all to put yes or no in the chat. All right, yes or no in the chat. Is Don the standard? All right. Um. Uh. So there we go. If Michael convinced you that Don is the standard, which I mean, I'm not seeing really anybody disagreeing in the chat. Um, let us know. Let us know in the chat. And also, guys, if y'all can do what Carmela says. Carmela says, hit that like button, guys. Yeah, please hit that like button. And also, let Michael know how great of a job he's doing. All right, let
Oh
Michael
yeah.
know in the chat how great of a job he's done because yo, I saw somebody who's like, yeah, you need to, hey, Michael, if you want to return back on here, hey, you know your basketball. And that's the thing, and that's the thing that we did that Cleveland meetup, and listening to you, I was like, man, this dude, he knows basketball. Like, there's a lot of fans who are fans of their team, and all they really know is their team. They don't know anything else. You can't really talk to them about women's basketball as a whole because they're just very new. But you are different. You actually know your stuff. You know your stuff.
I appreciate that. And shout out to our Carmela who was there too. Like
Facts,
we
facts.
were, if I
And
didn't have to
honestly,
go, I put,
honestly was there too. So shout out to honestly.
oh yeah, yeah. So we were like, I had to go actually get my partner who was coming in for the championship game from the airport, but uh, I could have stayed there, Quita, and talked for 12 more hours. Right? It's we just love the game. And the other thing I'll say too, though, for anybody else out there, if you are a vet of this sport and love it, um, look. there's been a huge influx of new folks in our space, right? In this last
Mm-hmm.
at least 24 months, 2 years, right? And sometimes it's real hard to like read through the comments and be like, oh man, they don't even know what a foul is, or you know, they wouldn't know an offensive screen if it hit them in the face. But be willing to help bring people along too, right? We were there. I was there learning a long time ago, and still am. I don't want to lose these people, right? They've brought eyeballs to the game. Yeah, some will naturally go. That's fine. How do we keep the eyeballs on the sport? Keep these folks engaged. So this group has meant a lot to me as a fan this season. Like I randomly stumbled upon Quita's channel. I can't even remember what I was probably searching that day, but I was in like a dark hole of like, I need content for this. I came across Quita several months ago and have been honestly addicted ever since. But it's not just, I tell Quita all the time, like her content is great. You all are reading through the chats, like normally when I'm on that end participating, it gives me life, right? So many different opinions, but you can tell people love the game, and then people have questions. They're like, I'm new, to help me out. Like, okay, somebody tells them the answer. Like, keep doing that for each other. Like, we're awesome people of the internet for a reason, right?
Facts,
So
man.
yeah.
Awesome people of the internet. Michael, you have truly, truly been phenomenal. I don't know if you can see all the stuff in the chat, but
I've tried to.
people
I'm
are
trying to.
saying great job. Um, you know, uh, you're doing a good job. You're doing a real, real good job. Got the
I
hand
appreciate it.
claps.
I
Um,
appreciate it. All right. All right. Well, out of
Ashley, yeah.
respect, here, this is the ultimate. I appreciate that, everybody. Seriously, out of ultimate respect for the channel, the other part of this live stream, Quita, is you want to talk WNBA. I am more than
Oh
happy.
yeah.
Turn it back over to you. Get into it. Like I am so grateful to have been a part of this. I'm excited to see some of y'all get in this hot seat. Make your takes, for sure. So
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna move on into WNBA talk. But before we go, guys, the reason why Michael is on is one because he suggested the idea of a hot take of the week, but also because he is a Patreon member. So guys, this is going to be a Patreon exclusive. If you have a hot take you want to give, or a take that you're like, actually, I don't think anybody's really going to disagree with this, but I want to say it and I want to talk about it anyway. Let me know. Let me know. Hit me up on Patreon, and we'll get you in here. But this is a Patreon exclusive, and guys, we got 90% of people who said yes, Don is the standard. 10% said no. Will the 10% please stand up and say something in the chat? Why? But yeah,
yeah.
90% said yes, Don is the standard. 10% says no. But anyway, that
Well,
is
who
the
is?
segment. Oh, go ahead.
If it's not Don, just throw in the chat. Who is it then? I can't wait to hop off and read those later. I would love to know who. If it's not Don, who is that standard?
Um, Darnell, thank you for the super chat. Darnell says, if you see this lock and key, just know I'm about to lock you up like Raven Johnson did Caitlin Clark. Ah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. All right. Well, um, I hope that you all enjoyed the segment. Shout out to Michael. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining. I hope that if you have another hot take or something that you want to get off your chest, that you hit me up and we'll get you back on this because clearly, Michael, the awesome people of the internet really really like you. All right.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Quita. I'm excited to talk some WNBA. I'll be in the comment section here in just a minute, and I'm ready for the draft on Monday.
Woo woo. Let's go. WNBA. All right, guys. We are switching over and we are going to talk about the WNBA. We're going to have WNBA 101. Shout out again to Michael for being awesome. All right. So I have seen a lot of people That's weird. I have seen a lot of people ask me about the WNBA. A lot of people that are like, hey, I don't know anything about the WNBA. I am a fan of women's college basketball. I don't know much about the game. I don't know when it started. I don't know some of the key figures to know about. I don't know anything. Well, hopefully you find this stream helpful because we're going to talk about the WNBA. We're going to give you a general WNBA 101. All right, so I'm going to let you know about a little bit about the history of the WNBA. I'm going to talk to you about some of the previous teams we had in the WNBA. We're going to talk about the current teams that we have in the WNBA, and we're also going to talk about just some of the stuff you may want to know in terms of some of the big names in the WNBA right now. All right. So yeah, let me know if y'all have specific WNBA questions. Let me know in the chat. Again, this is going to be similar to what we did yesterday, where yesterday we sort of talked about the portal and I tried to answer your questions and make sure you all had a good understanding about what's happening with the portal. And for this one, we are going to we're going to do a one-on-one of the WNBA. All right. So again, if you have any WNBA questions, put them in the chat below. All right. So let's talk about the WNBA. So the WNBA is a women's basketball league. It is the professional basketball league for America. It is not the only professional basketball league in America, but it is the most prominent league in the country. And also, when it comes down to it, it is the most recognizable league worldwide when it comes to women's basketball as a whole. So the WNBA became a thing in 1996. Before the WNBA came about, there were leagues in the past that started up and folded, never really fully getting backing. I did a couple of videos in the past about some of the previous leagues that were around back in the day, but none of those leagues ever really took hold. They would stay for, sometimes they would stay for a couple of years. Sometimes they wouldn't even last in a full year before the team would fold. But the WNBA was officially brought into place in 1996, and it was a result of the NBA, actually. So the NBA Board of Governors, they approved the concept of a women's basketball league backed by the NBA. And this was a novel concept. Before this, the NBA was never involved in women's basketball like that. But they saw the success that the U.S. had in the Olympics that happened in Atlanta, and saw that the United States won the gold with Tara Vanderveer as our coach, and we had lots of big personalities on that Olympic team in Atlanta, and the NBA was like, okay, well, we should get in on this. We should create a women's National Basketball Association, the WNBA. So that was approved on April 24th, 1996. All right, April 24th, 1996. And the first game actually started in June of 1997. Oh no, don't tell me this thing is going slow again. Oh darn. All right, guys, let me know in the chat if my well, at least me and Michael's segment actually happened without any mess ups. Now it looks like my internet is starting to mess up. But anyway, let me know in the chat if y'all see it messing up at all. All right. So the first game happened in June of 1997, and guys, 28 seasons later, the WNBA is still a thing, and we are still rocking. We are still rocking. And I do want to just sort of talk through the years of the WNBA from 1997 all the way to 2024. Talk about some of the key figures that were huge in the WNBA. So the WNBA starts in 1997. We have a couple of teams, right? You have the Charlotte Sting that started in 1997. You have the Cleveland Rockers. Both the Charlotte Sting and the Cleveland Rockers are no longer teams of the WNBA. We also had the Houston Comets, which was the first dynasty of sorts in the WNBA. and the Houston Comets ended up winning 4 WNBA championships. They had some of the most recognizable women on their team when it came to basketball. Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, big names in women's basketball um, were on the Houston Comets. And the Houston Comets from day one really was the place to be for the WNBA. So again, Charlotte Sting, Cleveland Rockers, the Houston Comets, and also another franchise that started off with the WNBA in 1997 is the Sacramento Monarchs. Sacramento Monarchs is another squad that had a good amount of success as a program. And eventually, the Sacramento Monarchs did do like the other four and did eventually fold. But those 4 teams were a part of the inaugural season for the WNBA. And if you're curious about the other inaugural teams are actually still playing to this day. You have the LA Sparks, who also started in 1997. You have the New York Liberty, the Phoenix Mercury, and it was then called the Utah Stars. Now it is called the Las Vegas Aces. Those were the teams that were the inaugural teams in the WNBA. Now I'm not sure exactly if everybody knows about these programs, but when the WNBA first started, that's what people talked about. They talked about the Utah Stars. They talked about the Phoenix Mercury, the New York Liberty, the LA Sparks, Sacramento Monarchs, Houston Comets, Cleveland Rockers, Charlotte Sting. Those were the first teams in the WNBA. The WNBA starts, huge backing by the NBA. You see the WNBA in commercials. You see stars starting to get recognition, starting to appear on TV. And the WNBA is building some momentum as the seasons are happening. And you see the dynasty of the Houston Comets. The Houston Comets are winning up a storm. Starting to win, starting to look very, very good. But then some stuff that's not so great started to happen. Ultimately, teams started to fold in the WNBA. We would see the Houston Comets, a team that was legendary. A team that had a 61% winning percentage. In 12 years, they fold. They folded in 2008 after winning 4 championships, after making it to the playoffs 9 times. They fold. We also see teams come and go quickly. We see the Portland Fire, which lasted 3 years. They started in 2000. They end as a program in 2022. We see the Miami Soul team. Again, short-lived, 3 seasons from 2000 to 2002 in their season. And that's a casualty of, one, bad decisions from the ownership position, where they decide, actually, I don't want to be in the women's basketball business. And also on the league side as well, in terms of not picking expansion teams that can sort of stand the test of time. All right. We also had some other teams as well, right? It wasn't just those teams that came and went. We had we also have had programs leave cities and go other places. Do you remember the Detroit Shock? The Detroit Shock was actually created a year after the WNBA became a thing. So in 1998, we saw the WNBA expand to Detroit. Oh, this looks really, really jittery. Is this really bad, guys? Let me know. Let me know if this is really, really bad. If it is, then we'll figure out something to do. We will figure out something to do if this is really, really bad. But yeah, it's looking really choppy on my end. All right. If this stream ends up super, super choppy, maybe I'll also just make a produced video, just sort of walking through the history of the WNBA. Continuing on, guys, there were several teams that have changed locations throughout, And I want to talk about those. So there's three teams that exist today that y'all don't know about. Uh, three teams that exist today that you probably don't even know where the team originated from. All right, so you have the Orlando Miracle. I don't. I saw. I think I saw somebody shout Orlando out in the comments. But the Orlando Miracle is a team that was created in 1999 in Orlando, of course. The team ended up moving actually to Connecticut, so they stayed in Orlando for 4 years, from 1999 to 2000. But yeah, yeah, the Orlando Miracle is now the Connecticut Sun. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Also, I talked about it earlier, but the Utah Stars. Originally, the Utah Stars was a inaugural team. Stayed in Utah for a little bit, moved. After 6 years, they moved down to San Antonio. So they became the San Antonio Silver Stars in 2003. And the San Antonio Silver Stars was a thing for about 15 years, from 2003 to 2017. And in 2017, they move. They move to Las Vegas. Mark Davis becomes the owner, and all is history from there, right? After moving to Las Vegas, this franchise finally wins a championship. So the Utah Stars never won a WNBA championship. The San Antonio Silver Stars never won a WNBA championship. The Las Vegas Aces have won two. So that's something to know. Oh, guys, you are saying you can't hear me? Okay. So actually, I'm gonna have to end the stream, I guess. All right. So I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with my with my yeah, I don't know. Okay. Yep, Nancy, you're right. Yep. So Becky Hammon was on the San Antonio Silver Stars, and because they were in San Antonio, she developed a relationship with the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich, and that's how she got into her coaching journey. She got into her coaching journey due to her being in San Antonio, and Greg Popovich deciding to take her under his wing. All right, so y'all are saying you can hear me. Okay, great. So I'll continue on. But again, I am sorry for the choppiness of the stream. I am so sorry about that. Eventually, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to use a new system or something. I don't know. There's a lot of issues, I guess, with this. All right, I do want to walk through another team that um, existed in the past in a with a different name in a different city than what they exist now. So, do y'all remember the Detroit Shock? Do you remember the Detroit Shock? The Detroit Shock was actually created in 1998. They were an expansion team in the second year of the WNBA's creation. They lasted for 12 years, and I was a huge fan of the Detroit Shock. Like I was, you had like the Bad Boy Pistons. I thought like the Detroit Shock was a great companion to that. We saw, um, you know, fun basketball. We saw a grittiness to the Detroit Shock. They were like one of my favorite teams in the WNBA back in the day. But they ended up leaving Detroit, and the Detroit Shock became the Tulsa Shock. In a bid to grow the fan base and whatnot, they moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, that Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, it didn't last. It did not last because the fan base just wasn't there, and they weren't supporting the team. So they picked up and moved again. They stayed in Tulsa for 6 years. Then they moved now to where they currently are, Dallas. So the Dallas Wings of now is the Detroit Shock of old. All right. The Detroit Shock of old. Yes, Cheryl Ford was on that team. Yes, Cheryl Ford was on the team. Yep. Cheryl Ford. It was Swin Cash. Yeah, you know, Deanna Nolan was on that team as well. It was a good time. It was a good time with the Detroit Shock. But the Detroit Shock um, was the squad. They won 4 championships as the Detroit Shock. And ever since then, they haven't won anything. They haven't won a championship since then. All right. So Detroit Shock won 3 championships. They lasted for 12 years. Left, went to Tulsa, became the Tulsa Shock. Stayed there for 6 years. Left, went to Dallas, became the Dallas Wings. Been there for 9 years. All right. And that is where they are still. So now, guys, if y'all are curious about who are the current teams in the WNBA, here it is. All right. So I do want to walk through the current teams in W. All right. So we have going from left to right, we have lots of teams on here. So we have the Indiana Fever. So the Indiana Fever is a team that was actually created in 2000. So they've been around for 25 years for the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever has won a championship before. Recently, they haven't been that great, though they're going to get a lot better this season. They did win 1 championship, and that championship was won with Tamika Catchings, the legendary player for the Indiana Fever. So when you talk about the Indiana Fever, the player that you need to know in women's basketball history is Tamika Catchings. She was the most important player that ever played for the Indiana Fever. All right, so I know there's probably a lot of y'all. She was a baller. She was a straight up baller. One of the hardest working, one of the hardest working players I've ever seen play basketball. Yeah. So if you don't know the name of Tamika Catchings, you need to know her because she was excellent, excellent. Then we have the Las Vegas Aces. We kind of talked about them earlier. They were the Utah Stars, San Antonio Silver Stars. Now they are the Las Vegas Aces. They have won 2 championships. And when it comes to the Las Vegas Aces, I would say in terms of the franchise, the player that you need to know about, I would say the player that I would call the most recognizable, one of the most impactful players, was Becky Hammon. Becky Hammon came to the San Antonio Silver Stars from the New York Liberty, and she did her thing, y'all. She did her thing with the San Antonio Silver Stars. They never won a championship, but they were always a pretty good team. And Dan Hughes was their coach for a long time. Dan Hughes was their coach. And when they moved to Las Vegas, it's been all Asia Wilson from there. It's been all Asia Wilson, and Becky Hammon is back in a coaching perspective. She's back in the coaching perspective, which is kind of cool. It's sort of full circle for San Antonio. It is sort of full circle for San Antonio. Guys, I am seeing some news. I'm about to fact check it real quick before I mention it on screen. All right, guys. It is official. JB is calling some breaking news. Kiki Iraofen is in the portal. Yes, guys, this is confirmed. This is official. We have Talia Goodman reporting that on X right now, saying Stanford's Kiki Iraofen has entered the transfer portal with a do not contact mark. All right. So yeah, this is this changes a lot. We know Stanford's not going to be very good next year then. We know they're not going to be very good. Wow. All right. Let's yeah. Actually guys, let me know in the chat. My stream is getting very very bad. So actually I think what we're going to do is I am going to I'm gonna do a separate produced video about WNBA 1-on-1 because clearly this isn't working well. And let's do a real quick chat. Let's do a real quick chat about the transfer portal real quick. Let's do a real quick chat about the transfer portal and the breaking news. Shout out to JB. Shout out to JB for the breaking news that wow, Kiki Iraofen is in the transfer portal. Now, I wasn't quite sure if she was going to enter the transfer portal. I wasn't quite sure because the new head coach for Stanford, she was the assistant coach for Stanford for the last several years. And I was thinking that, okay, well, maybe she'll stay with Stanford because she knows the coach and whatnot. But that is not the case. She is in the transfer portal with a do not contact. So it leads me to believe that clearly she knows where she wants to go. And I don't necessarily have a hot take of where she's going. I do have a hot take of what conference she is going to. All right, so my take right now is that she is going to go into either the SEC, the ACC, or the Big Ten with emphasis, I believe, on either the ACC or the SEC. All right. So that's why. So she's going to one of those conferences. I have to think really on it to give a real hot take of where specifically she might go, because Kiki Iraofen, she's a player that I think you can plug in really anywhere. I think you can plug her in anywhere. And I'm interested. I'm really interested to see where Kiki decides to go. CAC says UCLA or USC for Kiki. Possibly, but I feel like she's probably going to be moving to the. She might be moving to the East Coast, maybe, because I think UCLA actually could work. Her and Lauren Betts. I think that actually could be pretty interesting. USC, I'm not totally sure about USC because USC is going to be so guard focused in terms of their strategy. And I don't think Kiki's going to really be able to eat as much as she was this year. So like this year for Stanford, it was all about the bigs. It was all about the bigs for Stanford. And I thought that really was an opportunity for her to shine, right? And I think, yes, she can go anywhere, but I think she'll really be able to show her full repertoire if she goes to a program that is focused on the bigs. So that's why I think that UCLA has more of the edge than a USC, because the USC is super guard focused, and I'm not quite sure about that. But UCLA might be able to work, right? That might be able to work. Michaela says, why everyone's saying the top talents in the portal is going to USC? Because, I mean, that's what people do. They, when someone's transferring, it's like, the names that are going to pop out. They're going to say, Don's bringing in a new birdie. They're going to say USC is bringing in a player. They're going to say Gino is getting somebody else in stores. Like that's the thing. It's either, now when I'm hearing somebody in the transfer portal, that's what I'm hearing. Either Lindsay Gottlieb is getting them, Don Staley's getting them or Gino is getting them. Like, but honestly, I don't think either one is getting them. When I say USC, I mean University of Southern California. If I mean South Carolina, I will say South Carolina. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what everybody in the chat. Actually, if we could just make this like a awesome people of the internet hygiene. If we mean South Carolina, can we say either SC or South Carolina? Okay. If you mean Southern California, it is USC. Okay. If you're talking about South Carolina, do SC or write South Carolina. All right. All right. That would be fabulous. Thank you very, very much. All right. So SC for South Carolina, USC for Southern California. All right. All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Michael says, even as an alum, SC is South Carolina and USC is Southern California. Yeah. Yeah. If we can just make that our hygiene, that would be phenomenal. That'll really lessen the confusion for people. So yeah, I don't think she's going to South Carolina. I don't think she's going to UConn. If she does, I'll be kind of shocked about it. I don't think she's going to. I don't think she's going to USC, Southern California. I don't think she's going there either. No, Lawrence. Nope. South Carolina is not USC. Nope. I'm sorry. Nope. Nope. South Carolina is SC. Nina says, "Why don't you think UConn?" I think that UConn. I don't see Kiki going there. If she goes there, sure, she could be very, very successful. And we've seen some transfers go to UConn, but UConn really isn't a transfer school. It really is a homegrown school, right? It really is a homegrown school where, you know, the players are there for 3+ years at least. So also, I think that there's more opportunities for her to eat and be like the main focus somewhere else that's not UConn. But I tell you this, if she goes to UConn, that makes that team way better. Because remember, as DJ says, they do have Sarah Strong coming in. So I think Kiki can absolutely be the best player on the team. And she needs to go to a place that is going to make the big the most important factor for the most part, or at least really focus on the bigs. Let's see. LB says maybe Kiki goes to Notre Dame with Ivy up. To me it's a similar thing with the guards, where it'd be really interesting to see her go to Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, we're gonna see Notre Dame and next year, and they're gonna have Olivia Miles back, so it's gonna be all about Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. And sure, would Notre Dame be like leaps and bounds better than this year, than they were this year, if they had a player like Kiki Iraofen go there? Yes. I'm not sure if she goes there. I think UCLA has a good chance. All right, guys, my stream is like completely jacked. Completely jacked. So, I think I'm gonna have to end this because it looks really really bad on my end. But guys, I will make that WNBA 101 video as a separate video and put that out. I am so sorry about my internet. Or I don't know if it's my internet or it's the software I'm using for these streams, but I don't know. Every time it seems like the last several days, it feels like it's like messing up. Like later in the stream, like after an hour has passed, it messes up. Luckily, it was good for that first half, and then now it's just kind of I don't know. LB Kiki did start. Yeah, she did start. She did. All right. Well, sorry guys. I will have to end it here. I do want to say I thank you so much for rocking with me. I will figure out what's going on with my what's going on with my internet. But guys, exciting news. I got some new designs for the merch, and I know y'all probably like, oh, when is this stuff coming out? It's coming out soon. It really is. I got some new designs, and I've been showing it to people, and they seem to like it. So I am excited about it. And I just gotta start ordering the shirts themselves, and then start pressing them, and then I'll start to sell them. So anyway, it's still coming. It's still coming, but you know. Y'all know I got a lot of stuff going on, so sometimes I'm delayed and stuff, but yeah, anyway, I do appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope y'all are having a fantastic day so far. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. I will be back for a WNBA one-on-one as a produced video. Also join me right here on Sunday, me and my mom, 3 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. All right, 3 p.m. On Sunday. We will have some yes, CAC. There is a Get Got shirt. There is a Get Got shirt, and there's another shirt that that's I got a Jokes on You shirt as well. So it's I got a couple shirts, and I got a awesome people of the internet. I created a word logo of sorts for awesome people of the internet. I think it looks really fire. I really do. I'm excited about it. Maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll drop it. Maybe I'll drop a sneak preview to our Patreon folks, so they can take a look at the items. That I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, Kyra, good idea. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, maybe I'll post it tomorrow on Patreon. I'm so geeked about it, and y'all can let me know if y'all actually are like, yeah, that hits, or if you don't, then I'll make some changes to it. But I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it, and the people I'm showing are excited about it too. So we'll make it happen. But yeah, preview on Patreon of the merch. Preview on Patreon of the merch. Right now, it's gonna start off as just t-shirts, and then we'll move on to sweatshirts and all that other good stuff. Anyway, guys, I'm like a jittery mess on my screen because of this software. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. And also on Sunday. Remember, Mom is joining on Sunday for a WNBA draft preview. So I hope y'all are able to join. She is so excited. She's so excited. Mash, don't leave church early. No. Don't leave church early. Don't leave church early. Hey, stay in church. I mean, this is at 3 p.m. So is your church service still on at 3 p.m.? I don't know. But anyway, don't leave church early. Just watch it later, Get your word in on your Sunday. Don't worry about it. Christopher says, Quita, don't get mad when I add except South Carolina on my Anybody Can Get Got shirt. I mean, I think that'd be fun. Christopher, do it. Add it to it. I think that'd be really fun. Do it. Do it. I don't think I'll have the rights to add that, because I think that's like because that's like a school, and I think I'd have to get licenses and all that stuff to put South Carolina, because that could be a fun shirt but I don't think I can actually make that. legally, except South Carolina. But you can make it yourself. I think that'd be really fun. So Christopher, when you get your shirt, I want you to do it and take a picture of it, and we'll put it in the chat. All right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There is a West Coast time zone. So I have to figure out. I don't know what 3 p.m. is in West Coast time, but but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all so much. Um, Mom is very much looking forward to it. Mama's looking forward to it. But yeah, anyway, I do apologize for whatever's going on with the stream. I will get this stuff figured out so we don't have any more mess ups, because guys, I really do enjoy chatting with y'all, and I would like to chat with y'all like for as long as we want to chat, not sort of be forced off because of the software. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And I will talk to y'all next time. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.